Okay, we're set up and just about ready to turn the still on. So let me take you through all the components. This big chamber here is the boiler, and that's got all the wash we produced. I've got to find out where that's leaking. We'll fix that. I'll do that in a second. So what happens is there's two big elements in there, about 6,000 watts worth, that heat that up until it starts to boil. And when it boils, the vapour comes up, travels up this copper tube, up the top, and the light's the wrong direction, I'll try and move this way. Up the copper tube, up to the top, and goes down into this cylinder here. Now that cylinder is called a condenser. It has a hose coming in here, up to the top, and another hose coming out to the bottom. So cold water goes in, cools down the vapour that collects in there, and makes it turn back into a liquid, so it condenses, and then it runs down this pipe, down this orange pipe, comes out of this hose and pops into this funny looking copper thing here, which is called a parrot. That's just the name, I don't know why. Anyway, what happens with this parrot is that the condensed alcohol runs down this little tube into the bottom here, fills up this copper tube here, and when it gets to the top it overflows and runs out of this hose here. Why do we do that? Well, this hole here has been made to fit a hydrometer, which tells you the alcohol strength. So you have a hydrometer in there, and so while it's running you can actually measure what the strength of the alcohol is that's coming out. So there's a couple of there's two reasons to do it. A lot of places do their distilling by starting to collect the product, the stuff you're going to drink, when the alcohol level drops to a certain point, stopping when it reaches another point. So something like Lefroy might collect from about 67 degrees alcohol strength down to about 58, and everything on either side they don't use in the bottles. On the other hand, I prefer to do it by volume. I sample the volumes, I work out how much alcohol is in my wash, and then I'll go, do you know what, I'm not going to use the first 37%, I'm going to keep the next 52%, and then I'm going to not use the last bit. But we'll get to that when we get into the next run after this one, which is where we actually collect what you're going to drink and select what to drink. Today, the main reason for doing it today is that we're going to strip all the alcohol out of what's in the still, and eventually it'll start coming out at about 70%, maybe higher, and then when it'll keep going down. Now when it gets to about 20%, what's coming out, the energy you're using, the electricity you're using to heat it up and collect that, is worth more than the alcohol you're collecting. So you turn it off at that point and just throw out what's left. What's left in the still then probably has about 0.5% alcohol left in it. Right, so the process today is turn the boilers on, let it all run through, condense, and it'll run out down this little tube, and we'll collect it in this 25 litre container. So now let me show you one of the most important things is how much water do we put through that hose that's cooling. So I'll show you here. You can get an idea of how much is running. Maybe that, or maybe even a little bit less. What you need to do is have enough, I'm going to turn it down a little bit, is have enough water coming out to cool the condensate. You don't want to put any more than you need to, because you're going to waste water. So that's a pretty reasonable flow now. So that will come out sort of lukewarm. You don't want it too hot because it might hurt the plants it's landing on. So we're now ready to turn on the still, and hopefully nothing. But I've got, where's that water coming out of?
It's
Just try
right
tightening those.
I did, but I think it's coming out here. Can you close this? No. It's coming out of
There?
It's coming out of the joint, yeah.
Oh, okay.
If I go like that.
Just set it up whichever way is going to work best. Hang on, everything's getting wet now. So, what I want to do is I'm going to put this one into here. I'm hoping I'm not going to trip my power supply, that's all. That one into there. This yellow one, oops, pants are falling down. Alright, so I've got one element plugged into this power board. I'm not happy though about this. This water that's run onto here, the reason I'm not happy is it may trip my leakage detector and we won't get much done. Hang on, be careful because that's my hose.
Yeah. It's going to move it over there now.
Alright, I'm going to turn this off and see if I can stop that leaking as much.